intel. We now know the location of a hidden enemy staging area. Check it on your iDroid. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. You've got other targets closing in. You can check their predicted route on your iDroid. This offensive will...
Hold on 1 second.
Ending soon. Boss, what's up? You haven't eliminated a single vehicle yet. You'll fail the mission if you don't hurry.
Okay, Snake!
In this mission, we're back up for the guerrillas' offensive operation. Take out the incoming Soviet combat vehicles. Each one you eliminate will contribute to our reward. However, you'll fail the mission if you don't take out any at all. Boss, each vehicle is a piggy bank just waiting to be smashed. Get as many as you can. Targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map. Target has left the mission area. It's too late to eliminate that one. Just focus on taking out the remaining targets. Boss, we have information on new targets. Check your iDroid for their predicted route.
front-wheel drive transporting a prisoner. It's not part of the mission. If you think you can bust him loose, just if you have the time to spare.
Coming too. Roger that. Boss, that prisoner we rescued provided some intel. We now know the location of a hidden enemy staging area. Check it on your iDroid.
Oi.
The guerrillas' offensive will be ending soon. Boss, there's still time left. Take out as many vehicles as you can.
Oh my gosh. Got it.
Confirmed.
Got it.
More in you. You've got other targets closing in. You can
All
check
right.
their predicted route on your iDroid.
Supply drop, ammo Fulton. Just quiet, I think.
Remaining. offensive was a success. The day is theirs, and our mission is complete. Time to fall back. Leave the hot zone as soon as you can. tail first. All right, the coast is clear. Mission complete. Mission complete. I know we can do better next time. Boss, about that AI pod you retrieved from Emmerich's research facility. Guess what we found inside? A corpse. Human. The pod maintained a low internal temperature the whole time, and very little outside air got in. That would have slowed down decomposition. Still, the remains were mostly skeletal. Estimated time of death is between 6 months and a year ago. We put the screws to Huey about it. Listen to the tape. Turns out it was the body of someone we knew very well.
Fine. Yes, Strangelove was doing AI research in that lab.
Why hide that until now?
Why? Okay, so what? I wasn't working alone. You've got to understand. You do understand, right? I didn't want to drag her into this. It's my load to bear, alone.
So you didn't create the AI intended to drive Sahelanthropus. It was Strangelove.
Skullface was never in favor of AI control. So naturally they argued. Strangelove, she got him angry and he killed her.
How? You didn't see it? So you found her inside that pod after the fact. And you just left her body to rot in there. Or perhaps you put her in there afterward.
I asked him not to take her away from me.
So she was killed by Skullface, but you asked nicely, and he put her body in the AI pod for you.
That's right.
Pathetic. You know, we have another idea. That you killed her.
What, me? I couldn't kill her.
You killed her and locked her body in the pod.
I wouldn't. Don't treat me like one of you. I can't just kill anyone whenever I feel like it. I'm a normal human being.
Oh, I see. So you just shut her inside and waited for her to die?
I would never do that.
What, you mean she killed herself?
Yes. She climbed inside that pod and shut the door. It can't be opened from the outside. It was suicide. Suicide, I said. She killed herself. She got in when I wasn't looking and suffocated. She'd often try to do things like that. By the time I realized and opened the door, she wasn't breathing. I got scared and shut the pod again. I couldn't bring myself to open it back up. That's right. Me? Kill her? What is wrong with you?
I see. Just tell me one more thing.
Haven't you gotten enough today?
Okay, I see it's a painful memory. You don't have to answer, just listen to the question. You see, we examined her remains. She had a scar on her lower abdomen, a surgical scar. It had been stitched up and had fully healed, meaning it was long before her death. She had a child, didn't she? Your child. Where's the kid?
How should I know?
So there is a child.
I've never seen his face.
What do you take us for?
They took it all. Even my child. I didn't even know he'd been born. I lost everything.
How old would he be?
It's 4 years since then.
And you know it's a boy.
Strangelove said so.
And his name?
We called him Hal, even though I never saw his face. It wasn't just Cypher. Back in the Caribbean, every eye in the world was turned on us. Why wouldn't they?
And that's why you made sure.
Well, I thought our best move. Of course, I was against us having it in the first place, but that.
The boss wasn't responsible.
Well, don't get me. I thought I was making the best. I figured we should get a and who better to do that?
So the truth is, you took it upon your only the inspection.
I had no idea.
Enough bullshit.
Oh, sure. You know, I was just trying. Oh, sure. Like I could have known. You know, I was. What's wrong with that?
We're not interested in the excuses you thought up.
Just see it from my point.
You led XOF to the... They seized it. Giving them moments later, anyone who'd managed to survive was...
You can't believe I did.
That was the end, but it wasn't the end for you.
How can you... Look, I lost something too. I built...
That raises the... Why were you the only one spared? Why did Strangelove leave the base on the eve of...
Strangelove?
And how did you manage to build something that surpasses Zeke? And because you did everything they told you. You're the only one who did that.
I was... Skullface forced me to do his research these past 9. He used me.
9 years. We all lost 9 years. It wasn't just you.
I suppose blaming me but who's gonna give...
You're not getting anything back.
You're not a victim here, Emmerich. You're the perpetrator.
I didn't know anything.
Nobody can back that up.
Yeah, all the evidence is at the bottom of the ocean.
You know the hardest man to break. The type who's fooling himself. That takes time. It's easier to live a convenient lie than a painful truth. Is that the piece you've chosen?
Snake, you finally came. Just don't record this, okay?
I'm not recording anything. What's this about?
What I'm about to say stays between you and me. It's about the weapon to surpass Metal Gear. Do you know a researcher by the name of Clark? He works in the biotech industry. Real advanced stuff. His area is bioengineering. But lately, he's also gotten into
Never heard of him.
Well then...
I think I've heard enough.
Well then, what do you know about cloning? Hold on. The cloning lets you create a genetic copy of it and you swap it with the nucleus of an unfertilized egg from another. They started out working with, but since then they've had success with other It's a hot area for a lot of places right now. There's no shortage of scientists out to get famous.
Isn't that a little outside your field?
It's got nothing to do. But I thought it might be of interest to you.
Go on.
Now, this is real, but I've heard that an American biotech... What's more, and the researcher behind it, you've really...
I don't meet many.
This Dr. Clark is a complete... His age, where... That might not be his real name. Clark's employer, AT...
What does this have to do with...
Cypher. Dr. Clark works for ATGC. And Cypher couldn't function without the communications, meaning Cypher has to be a part of the Pentagon. DARPA is a driving force behind human cloning. And this Dr. Clark, but that's every cell. Think of it as a Clark appears to be work. If you could do that, it would mean being able to Can you believe? Suppose for a moment, a man of your talents, if your genetic information died with... What if mankind could preserve you?
All right, enough.
Look, I know this weapon to surpass Metal Gear. I believe it's... Speaking as a fellow scientist...
That's rich coming from you.
If genes serve, then I wonder if they include an impulse that... Can you imagine that? Genes, encoded within... Is life itself putting the direction of our next... I guess it would take some... And yet, it could...
I think you're barking up the wrong... But that was an interesting story.
You have to...
Where'd you hear all this?
Where? I just overheard it in...
Right.
Wait a minute. I want to be of service here.
Is that so? Maybe it's time we brought someone else into the conversation.
No, not him. Not Ocelot. You can't do this.
One more thing. About the surgery that had been performed on the people in...
Yeah?
You said that their throats were cut open.
Right. The tubes were hooked up to tape recorder.
Well, we picked up some of that audio through your radio train. The intel team has been working on...
What have they found?
There's nothing tying the... We've got a report on 3 deaths in a car accident, protests outside the press conference with a 4-month-old weather, and then commercials, assuming they're not all staged. They come off as recordings of your...
Public broadcast, just radio.
Yes. And from all of... We're looking into whether they're speech that sounds like it.
And there's nothing they have.
We're partway through the... That includes checking all... Then there's vocabulary breakdown for... But I don't think it's gonna...
Where were the recordings made?
There's nothing linking them for... Just like you reported. We've French, German, then there's Russian.
They're nothing if not...
Well, I don't know if we've got them all. Ignoring the ones that have gone... Besides, English...
Really? English?
I know. Only 5% of the world. But when you factor in those who... The world's dominant, you gotta figure they had it somewhere.
No English.
Bear in mind, we didn't hear... We couldn't isolate them. Well, the probe, in a nutshell, people in that room... It's not clear how the growth... It could have been treatment...
I'm guessing one person knows.
Yeah, Skullface. He was there. The only thing we can say for sure is that he's involved.
Snake, I wanted to ask you about the man on fire. What do you remember from the hospital? Anything we can use? Well, he took off the moment the sprinklers started up. Sprinklers? The fire system? And when he got sprayed with water from the burst pipe, it slowed him down. When we escaped on horseback, he wouldn't cross the river either. And then it started to rain. And he disappeared. Water against fire. Is it that simple? I mean, it makes sense. It's just hard to believe it would work on a guy like that. You mentioned that the man on fire was crushed under Sahelanthropus in its hangar. Yeah. He was caught under the wheels of its transport platform. But his body wasn't found. What? We searched the area the moment we arrived, but there was no trace of him. I wasn't hallucinating. I know. I trust you on that. That means someone must have taken... When I got there, everything was even. Skullface hadn't been. I can't see a reason to sneak into a place like that and drag up... What do you get? The only option, he got up and... That platform just ran him over. You're saying that's not... I don't want to believe... Maybe not. He shrugs off bullets. There's no reason to think... It seems ridiculous. I'll start gathering eyewitness. If you dig up anything, Kunk, you'll be the first. But I hope to hell I don't. No kidding. The day the research facility holding Volgan burned down, a Soviet jumbo passenger jet far away to the north. On board the plane was a young boy who was being studied. The plane fell to earth from over 8,000 feet. But the boys, at almost exactly the same time as the crash, Volgan awoke in that. According to the Research Institute's documents, The gifts this boy demonstrated to protect his mind from being inundated with other people's thoughts, he always wore a rudimentary form of psychic insulation. We don't know where this boy is, but if Skullface is connected, this boy is part of a new age where nothing we understand about the world makes sense anymore. Don't let your guard down. Volgan, the GRU colonel, was burned alive with a Shagohod during Operation Snake Eater 20 years ago. Despite suffering severe burns to his after you left Seleniarsk, Volgan's body was taken to a research institute in the outskirts of Moscow. Modern medicine couldn't explain. Not that the colonel was any. After you left Seleniarsk, Volgan's body was taken to a research institute in the outskirts of Moscow. But modern medicine couldn't explain why he was still alive. Not that the colonel was any that constant electric current he had running through his body that he could. To be honest, I was always uncomfortable around him. Thought I might get a. The institute studying him was tasked with investigating, and the comatose Volgan was used to further this. But not long ago, the facility in Volgan's body was. Even though the fire started in the room where this occurred at around the same time you woke up. If Skullface was right, and a thirst for revenge can turn a man, this even though the fire started in the room where they were keeping him, and Volgan's body was, but not long ago the facility burned to the ground. And Volgan's body was even though the fire started in the room where this occurred at around the same time. If Skullface was right, and a thirst for revenge, and this man on fire who's been coming after us, well, that just might be what's left of our old friend Volgan. It's not over yet. Back in '64, in Seleniarsk, you brought his plans for you. That grudge is what's keeping him alive. The day the research facility holding Volgan burned down, a Soviet jumbo passenger...
The White Mamba. He's the commander of, as you know, but the kids have nothing to eat. I'm sure they... I guess somebody... The moment... That was when they... Word of the infamous... But it isn't, as you can tell from the name. He's the only... Not to mention the blonde. We have no idea where he came from or what he's But I'm sure you'll know it. One other thing. Be careful not to hit him with anything lethal. Our mission objective isn't just suppressing a bunch of militants. This is a DDR operation of the kids in that unit. DDR stands for Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration. Disarmament is obvious. We take their weapons off their hands. The demobilization part means dismantling their military organization to ensure they can't arm themselves again. To do that, you need to capture the unit's commander and have him order his men to disband. In this case, the commander is the White Mamba. There's nobody above him, so he's all we need to grab.
Roger.
Reintegration. Through education and occupational training, we give them a means to live besides war. A lot of kids born in a war zone don't know any other way to live. So before they find themselves back there, we teach them another skill. I'd like to establish this rehabilitation process at Mother Base. That's why we're bringing those kids back here. It's not so much for their sake. It's for the world that we're trying to create. No other way about it. Those kids are amateurs. Bad for business to have them running around where we're trying to work. Bring them all back if possible. Or as many as you can.
Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Squad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude. research has been stolen. The research materials have been packed into 2 containers and hidden in the jungle southwest of the mansion. Enemy extraction choppers will be there any minute. You have to find and retrieve those containers before they arrive. That area is being guarded by zero-risk security, and their client is XOF. If the choppers make off with the containers, that research will end up in Cypher's hands. That cannot be allowed to happen. One other thing, boss. We need a cargo-capable Fulton extraction device to recover the containers. Use your iDroid to order its development and have it dropped in.
Be careful down there, boss.
Beautiful South Africa. Let me go through here.
Guards, they must know where the containers are. If you can just squeeze it out of them. Our early warning radar still hasn't picked up the enemy choppers. But it's only a matter of time before they arrive. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. updated the info on your iDroid. Take a look. The PF soldiers have no idea what's in those containers. Strictly a need-to-know basis.
Speak.
He's coming too. Roger that. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Boss, come in. Boss?
Your targets are 2 containers. Locate and extract them both.